Next. We think we're ready. Okay, so here's a story coming up on for this uh, the Wealth Collective. Okay, now this story was related. It's a true story, and it was related by Sri Bhagavan to us in the 81,000 and a number of years ago now, and I've always remembered it. I was especially reminded of it since the field seems down financially right now, um, for us too here, especially prior to the election and then after the election. And I was talking to a dear friend of mine that's one of my primary mentors, beautiful life coach in England, and he left me a message and reminded me of the story. So I would like to share it with you. I'll make it very brief because it's the story fairly long. But basically, in India, there was a gentleman who knew how to make real good hamburgers. He made like sort of like the original Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders. He made really good chicken. So this gentleman made these beautiful hamburgers, and he had himself like a little stand on the side of the road, and he was a retired guy, and he would make his little hamburgers, and people would come by and buy them, and everybody always loved him, So he was always busy. Meanwhile, he had his son, his oldest son, had gone to America, was in an MBA program, business marketing. I think it was marketing division. So he's so proud of his son, of course. And he was making his hamburgers, and then everyone was telling him, say, uh, these are so delicious. Why don't you open up a couple more stands? And he said, well, I don't know. I've never tried something like that before. And they said, oh, it's easy. Just uh, get a couple of guys and train them how to make your hamburgers and open up a couple of stands because, down on Main Street over there, that'd be a good spot. And these people were all regulars. So he's listening to them. So he did that, trained a couple of guys. They were making the hamburgers, and each one of those stands were doing really good. So after a while, he was doing so great, they decided to pool the money and make like a little store, like a little restaurant. And he did. Meanwhile, his son's over in the MBA program in America. And he has a 4 year program, I think. So he's so proud, and the store was thriving, and he was making money coming out of his ears. I mean, he had a waiting line to get in there. And then one day, uh, his son come back. He graduated, come back, and he sees his dad in the restaurant, and the restaurant's thriving. And his son looks over the itinerary and the cost of the kind of beef that he was buying. He bought the very best, and the kind of bread he was buying was the very best. Everything was the very best. That's why his hamburgers taste so good. But his son said, "Dad, don't you know there's a recession right now, and that prices are high, and there's inflation, there's all these different things." And his dad said, "Really? I didn't know." And his son said, "Yeah, yeah. You don't have to buy bread that good. You can get this bread. This is at a much lower price. And look at this meat. You'll save so much money, Dad, because there's a recession." Oh, is that so? And he respects his son so much because his son has an MBA. He doesn't have an MBA. So he got the cheaper bread and he got the cheaper meat. And you can see where the story goes. His son keeps telling him how there's a recession, cut back on this, cut back on that. Well, as he kept cutting back, the clientele went down, 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 and down, down. And then one day he had to lose the restaurant, and he was back at his little stand on the side of the road, and he says, "You see, my son was right. There's a recession." And that's a true story. And it was all due to the perception of the man. The son had been programmed that there's a big recession, and He's got all his reasons and all his judgments and all his mental stuff. Meanwhile, his dad was very wealthy, enormously successful. And when he bought into the son's story of the collective of this big recession, he lost everything. Now, my buddy says to me the other day that reminded me, he says, Dr. G, the economy or the global may be down, but whenever it's really down, there are always lots and lots and lots of people who are making lots and lots of money. The difference is perception. It's never the environment. It's your it's our inner environment. It's our inner perception. Your inner perception comes from your subconscious programming. That's why depth healing is valuable. That's why I'm happy to bring it to you. And that's why it works. That's why my life is different now. And and I'm a very happy man. So that is a true story. And unfortunately, that kind of thing happens day in and day out all over the world. Don't let it happen to you. I'm right here for you, folks. Okay, I hope that was meaningful for you.